What's up, witches? You're listening to The Bewitching Hour. I'm your host, Kat, and I'll be dropping exciting episodes covering everything from the history of witchcraft, aliens, the paranormal, ghost stories, and I'm excited to have guests on who have a story to tell, as well as share my experiences and perspective on living life as a modern-day witch. Grab your brooms, because it's about to get real. Hey, welcome back to The Bewitching Hour. I cannot wait for y'all to hear this episode. I feel like I say that every intro, but you'll get over it. I got to interview a ghost hunter from South Florida. His name is Eric. He actually told me all about Florida history, things like that. And it was really cool to be able to talk to somebody about Florida and like the hauntings there, because if you know me, you know how much I love Florida and the paranormal. And as if I didn't before, but after talking to Eric just made me want even more to be a ghost hunter when I grow up, like, right? He also was the one that recommended this penitentiary in Missouri because I told him I was going on a road trip there. Best recommendation I've ever received. It was wild. I'm going to be recapping that experience in next week's episode, so stay tuned for that. I don't have like a ton of updates, honestly, guys. Still kind of want to get started on the t-shirts, but I'm thinking about doing a giveaway. Stay tuned for that. I'll have more details later. But I'm going to go ahead and pull y'all's card for the week because I am so anxious for y'all to hear this interview. So I pulled from the Halloween Oracle this week. I was feeling a little vibey, especially after talking to a real-life ghost hunter. And the card I pulled was the graveyard card. I'll post a picture of it per usual, but it's a big headstone in front of like a bright full moon, kind of creepy looking. And it says, "Graveyard, Unnecessary Fear." Today's modern graveyards are restful places, normally highly manicured and very well set out. While they can be places of profound sadness, few are the creepy Gothic places of old, yet they still hold an undercurrent of fear and seem frightening places. Due to countless stories of haunted graveyards, the thought of walking through cemeteries evokes fear in many of us. We imagine zombies and ghosts rising from the graves and bad spirits hiding out, waiting to harm an unsuspecting living person who walks by. The idea of being at a graveyard after dark, or worse, at midnight, is the stuff of dares and nightmares. But this isn't the way with every culture. On the Mexican Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, whole families picnic on the graves of their loved ones who have passed. Children play upon the graves, people play music, drink wine, share food, all in the company of the dead. Graveyard dust is used as an ingredient in protective spells, not in curses, and I can attest to that. Pull this card and know that you fear unnecessarily. Things are not as they seem, and you can overcome your obstacles. The anxieties you have, although real, should be put aside before they haunt you long term. Instead, trust that you know the correct next steps and that you will act upon them. This is such a perfect card for this episode because, like I said, ghost hunter, graveyards, just talked about spirits. Y'all, let's get into this episode. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Eric. I'm the team leader for War Party Paranormal, our paranormal research team in South Florida. And we actually have two teams. So we have a north team that covers West Palm Beach and up. Then we have a south team that covers Miami, Fort Lauderdale. And I'm the team leader for the south team. And basically what we do is, our main purpose for our what we do is, helping people. Anyone that has problems with the paranormal, we'll go out there and help them. So we do a lot of residential cases. And then we also do a lot of events just so we can get our name out there and so people know about us and what we do. So we do a lot of ghost hunting events at known haunted historical locations. And it's really like hands-on. You like let you use the equipment and you're like part of the investigation. And we do some local TV appearances and stuff like that. But mainly what we do is we help people.
How did you get into ghost hunting? And is this like your full-time job right now, or?
No, I got a daytime job that pays the bills.
Of course.
We're non-for-profit, so we don't charge any money. And no one ever should if they do an investigation. your home or business. No, we all volunteer doing this. We're all passionate about the paranormal and helping people. I do have one business I just started called Ghostly Experiences, where you can learn how to be a ghost hunter. It's almost like a class, and we
Oh,
do it
cool.
at one of our haunted historical locations.
That's awesome. Have y'all been like pretty successful with that?
Well, we just started.
Oh, okay.
We haven't even started our first event. Our first event is going to be May 29th. And then our other one is June 4th, I believe. But I think they're almost sold out. So that's good. That's a good sign. And things were holding us up because of the COVID thing. No one
Of
could do
course.
without using social distancing. Well, it hasn't stopped me from ghost hunting, that's for sure. I mean,
Well, yeah, you're
the
not going to
ghost
catch
can't
COVID
carry
from a
COVID, right?
ghost. Exactly. Exactly. So how did you get into this? Like, were you always into the paranormal, like from a young age, or was this something that came later in life? Or tell me about that.
Well, I don't have like a crazy experience that made me believe in the paranormal. I've just always like been intrigued by things that are unknown. So when Ghost Hunters came out like a while back ago, I was like so into that show, and I was like, man, I like to like really go out there and see if that's really real.
Mm-hmm.
So, I started doing little things on my own. I'm in Florida, so St. Augustine's probably one of the most haunted cities in the US. It's actually the oldest city in the US. So I ended up getting like some weird things there whenever I would go there and visit. And then I would do like ghost hunting events. I would like do stuff on my own. And then I went to one ghost hunting event in Miami, actually the most haunted location in Miami, called the Deering Estate. And the guy that was running the paranormal team at the time, I went up to him and asked him, I'm like, man, I would just like to go on a real paranormal investigation. I'll do anything. I'll carry equipment, whatever you want me to do. And before I know it, I'm out doing investigations. I'm doing events. And then about a year and a half later, I started War Party, the South team.
So yeah, nothing super significant. You've just always kind of been into it.
I've always been skeptic. Like I've always been a
Yeah.
doubter. Like, because like I don't know, I always think logically, and I'm like, if it doesn't happen, if I don't see it, then it's not real. So when I first started out, I started getting like, started collecting my equipment and buying stuff, and I would be so much into the like equipment and focusing on that and trying to get evidence. Where just recently I found out that it's better just to like go into a place and just feel the vibe out. And now I realize like I have senses now. Like I think my intuition is pretty good, especially when it comes to investigations. I don't know, like I've experienced a lot of weird things, so I'm not as skeptic as I used to be. But like when things happen, I'm like, no freaking way. I mean, like there's got to be a logical explanation for that. And I always look at it like, if you don't get it on video, then it never happens, because no one's
See,
going to
that's
believe.
the thing. Exactly. I was just going to say that's the unfortunate part of it is if you don't have like tangible proof where you can show somebody right to their face and be like, here, this is exactly what happened, no one is going to believe you.
Exactly, especially if they don't believe in it, they're like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right, whatever. So that's why, like, I don't know if you've seen my like little short video clips that I post. I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
like try to like capture as much evidence on video as I can, and I like show people that when I do like an EVP session, like I put the recorder down and let it run, and I'd stay away from it. So I'm not like messing with it or trying to trick people. You can
Right.
tell what I get is real.
Oh, no, for sure. Because that's how I actually found you. I randomly came across your profile and saw that you were doing those Instagram lives where you were actually in a haunted location and, trying to communicate with spirit. And that is something that it's on my bucket list is to go on a like paranormal investigation with the whole team, just kind of feel it out and then see what I get. Because even just from your videos, I'm so sensitive to energies. I picked up on stuff immediately.
Oh, that's right. You were commenting. I remember that. You were picking
Yeah.
up a lot of things.
A lot, yeah,
And you
and
saw the
because you were at
one
a
you were in
schoolhouse,
the
right?
first one with the school too, right? You were in
Yes, yeah, yeah,
the first one and the second one.
yep. So where you were at the Davies schoolhouse, is that correct?
Yes, the old Davies Schoolhouse Museum. It's in Davies, Florida. It's actually like pretty much Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the oldest schoolhouse that was built out in the edge of the Everglades. I mean, that whole area used to be Everglades, and they, dredged canals to drain it and
Mm-hmm.
created farmland. And it became the town of Davies. And that was the first school that was established there. And then at the museum, they have like two historical homes that were like one of the first homes in Davies that were going to be demolished. And they were not too far from the school, but they moved them and restored them. And they're actually, those houses were bought from a Sears catalog. They ordered the house and they shipped it down here, and they brought all the pieces on barges down the canals.
No
and then
shit.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, back in the 1920s, it was a big thing. You got everything from the Sears catalog.
Oh man.
Even
And
the
now
house.
like Sears are so obsolete,
Yeah, and it was like, I don't know, something cheap, like $1,000 back then. But that was like in the 1920s.
So those are the two houses that were in that video?
Yeah, well, I was in the attic. I was in the Bealey house, and they had an orange grove. And I don't know, that was like the most active experience I ever had there. And it was weird because like everything that I was getting was relating to the history of the house, because we had the museum director there, and she was like confirming everything. And she was like shocked, and she's like, you know what? I want to come back here alone with you guys and see what we get. So we're actually going to be planning that.
Yeah. So just for like the people that are listening that aren't fully getting the scope of what it, that video was, you basically hosted a Instagram live where you went into this location, the old Davies Schoolhouse, and then what'd you say, the Bealey house?
The Veely house. Yep.
Yeah. So the attic of that home as well. And, I picked up a couple things from the schoolhouse.
What'd
I think I said the Maria, Mary Ann, some kind of name like that kept coming through for me. And then I think somebody did confirm that. I know for sure you confirmed the Charles connection.
Well, the other house is called the Walsh House, and Charles Walsh owned that house. And his wife taught at the school. And I don't remember her name, but I don't think it was anything that had a Mary in it.
I know that when y'all were in the attic, I feel like I'm getting off topic. Sorry. I'm just like,
no, I can talk about this for hours.
Oh yeah, me too, for sure. But anyway, you were there to like basically scope out the location and see what kind of, things you picked up from spirit. You have, a slew of equipment that you use, but specifically you were using this one recorder. And I only know this because I was like part of the Instagram live. I was watching and commenting. And somebody had mentioned that there were, I can't remember.
3 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you guys were playing at all different times to see what you were picking up.
Actually 4.
But somebody had mentioned the, I guess, amount of spirit that was in the room with y'all. And they said a certain number, but I kept getting like, okay, I think 7. It's 7. It's got to be 7. And then all of a sudden it flipped to 9. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much going on.
No, but it was funny when I asked how many people are here. I don't remember that. It said 7, and there was 7 of us there. Like, how do you fake that?
But then the 9, if there was, 9 people, it would have made sense for the 2 other to come through, if that makes sense.
They're people too, so they were probably including them.
So I thought that was wild.
And it was really cool that we were getting a Paul, and then the house next door at the same time, they were getting a Paul.
Yeah. Okay. So some girl came on kind of in the middle of the video, and
yes.
And it's still up on your Instagram, so people that are listening can absolutely go check it out. It's pretty cool. But she was saying that he was right in front of her. Did she see him? I was confused by that comment from her.
Okay, so let me tell the whole story real quick about Paul. So Paul was, when those houses were built, had a house as well, and he was neighbors with those people. So that's how he relates to those 2 homes. And back in 1926, there was a major hurricane, and he lost his home, and he lived at the Veely house for a while. So he has some kind of attachment there, and he must have had attachment at the Walsh house, because it was like you could pretty much walk to that house from the Veely house.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just weird that we were getting Paul in both houses. And then when I asked the question, Paul, are you in both houses? And then I got the response, I'm God. Like he was sort of like, like messing with us.
That, I think I would be freaked out if I heard that, like recording.
And then I had someone there doing tarot cards, and she got that someone was poisoned. And the museum director said that Paul died from two rattlesnake bites. So
Are
that's
you
your point.
serious?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Crazy, right?
So the girl that saw him, what did she mean by that? Like, did she actually see an apparition
Oh
or?
no, we had what's called an SLS camera. Are you
Okay.
familiar with that camera?
No.
It has it's the one with the stick figures. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think so.
Basically, like PlayStation, they have that Connect game. It shoots out
Okay.
all these lasers so it can map out your body.
Yeah.
So when you play it on PlayStation, that's how it can like the one I can think of is called Just Dance, where you're like dancing in the in the
Yeah.
game.
Hmm.
So it's like it's mapping out your body and your moves from all these lasers that are shooting out of it. So basically, what that is that's a device from PlayStation that's connected to a tablet. So sometimes when we're in a room, something will manifest into a stick figure. Now, no one's standing there because it reads whatever it's in front of. If there's nothing there and it reads a stick figure, why is it doing that? So what she was
Right.
saying was a figure was sitting next to her and they were seeing it on the SLS camera.
Was she a part of like a ghost hunt team or was she just there like kind of on
No,
her own?
she was just a guest. And she was
Did the
really into it because she had her like Ghost Hunters t-shirt and her whole family had something Ghost Hunters. Like they were all into it and we gave them quite a show. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I remember her asking, the questions and then you were recording, the answers and some
And the
crazy
thing that
stuff kind of came through.
Yeah, and the thing that you probably didn't hear was her dad was there with it because we let people use our equipment on these
Okay.
investigations. So he was the one that was using the SLS camera.
Hmm.
And in the past, in that attic, we always see like little shadow figures like in the corner. And he was picking up stuff off the camera with that.
Oh,
And
wow.
he says he saw something crawling on the ceiling.
Okay, no, goodbye. I'd be out. Like, get some sage up in that bitch. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And then I was messing around with these cat balls that I use as trigger objects. And what a cat ball is, it's a ball that when it senses motion, it lights up. So like when cats touch it, it'll light up.
Hmm.
So we use that as trigger objects. And I'm like, I was just joking about like how no one's touching the cat balls. And then one of our investigators had what's called an ovulus. And what the ovulus is it measures, different things in the atmosphere, and it has a word bank and ghosts what they can. And then when it reads like the different like temperature or EMF, like
Hmm.
supposedly ghosts can manipulate it to say out one of those words that are in the dictionary. So he got the word sign, and when that happened, like a few seconds after that happened, the cat ball lit up. And then what I didn't know until I reviewed my video the next day that on my night vision camera, it picked up an EVP, and it's very rare I get an EVP on off of the audio on my camera, but
Hmm.
I got sign. So then, but we didn't know this at the time. So after the cat ball, and then someone said, was that a sign? So I put down the recorder and I asked, were you lighting the cat ball? Was that a sign? And I played it back and I got yes twice.
Oh my gosh.
And that was all in one night. And there was more stuff. I mean, I still have things to like review. I have a REM pod that's a little bit different than what you normally see. You know what a REM pod is?
I don't. Yeah, I'm so not familiar. I'm so interested in
Okay.
this, but I'm not familiar with any of like how it goes, the equipment,
We're going to bring you to one of our classes.
That'd be amazing.
So a REM pod is a device that has an antenna and it measures EMF, temperature change, and then the antenna has like a static field built around it. So anything that breaks that field, it lights up and plays like music or noise. So I bought a new one that was a little bit different and I set it to music. And that thing, I've had it for like, I don't know, maybe 4 months, and that thing never lit up ever. I've never seen that thing go off, and it was going nuts that night. So that was really weird. And then we had another REM pods in that attic going off as well.
That's
So like something would have
crazy.
to touch that antenna to set it off.
Right.
No one was
Right.
there.
Ooh, I have like goosebumps just even talking about this. As much
Yeah,
as I
pretty cool
love
stuff.
ghosts, like I still get freaked out. Do you ever
Oh
get
yeah.
scared?
No, I actually if something happens, like I run to it. Like, it doesn't scare me.
No, fearless.
No. Well, you have to
um,
think like this is the way I think it works, especially when it's something that's, maybe like an evil entity.
mhm,
What they do is they feed off fear. That's how they get stronger, and they play off your fear. If you don't
that is
show any
true.
fear, they got nothing on you. And sometimes,
And
and then most of them are like cowards. They back off. They like hide. Like, why do they have to hide in the corners, of
yeah,
places? Like when we were in that attic, why couldn't they come right in front of us if
because
they
they
were
were
so
busy
bored?
crawling all over the ceiling.
Yeah, and you could tell no one that was in my group was scared because I got a pretty calming demeanor, and I'm pretty laid back about everything. So I think people feed off that, so they don't have to be scared.
Yeah, I mean, even in some of your past videos that I've watched, like people don't seem genuinely terrified. They just are kind of like going with the flow,
Well, they don't know
which
what to expect, and it's funny because I'll try to get them to try to do something like volunteer. They're like, "Oh no, we're just watching. We just want to be spectators."
explain to us the lingo, like EMFs, EVPs, all of that, and then explain to us like what equipment you fully are dedicated to when it comes to ghost hunting.
Okay, so EMF, what that means is magnetic frequency. Anything can set that off. Even your body can set that off. Cell phones can set it off. But when spirits manifest, they need energy and they feed off electricity. So that's why we use devices so we can measure the different levels of EMF in the area. So
Mhm.
like if we had like a meter and like I'm sitting in my room, there's no reason that meter should be reading anything. It should be at zero. But if I'm like really close to my computer, it might pick that up. But like if you're in an abandoned place or you're in some place with, all the power's off, like there's no
Mhm.
reason for that to go off. So we use that as a tool. And then the REM pods, that's the thing with the antenna that, has that static field. So whatever breaks it, that goes off. EVP stands for electronic voice phenomenon. And I think that's like the best evidence you can get because the way we do that is what we do is we use recorders to communicate, or we'll ask questions and we won't hear anything because a lot of recorders can hear frequencies that the human ear can't hear. So when we play it back, we'll get an intelligent response that we didn't hear when we were originally asking the question. So
Mhm.
I think that's like the best evidence. And then I use a lot of like night vision cameras with infrared lights, so you can be in pitch black darkness, but with the infrared lights, it looks like it's bright. And we also have what's called full spectrum cameras. And what a full spectrum camera does is it can see all the colors in the spectrum and some colors that the human eye can't see. So sometimes you get like weird anomalies going on, but that's the hardest thing to get. It's like, photo and video and stuff like that. But we've gotten some like shadows and stuff like that. And then we also measure for temperature. We have motion sensors, a thermal camera. It's what it sees is it sees heat signatures. What else? Oh, and then the SLS camera we were talking about. I can keep going. Oh, cat balls that you can get at your local grocery store for like $2.99.
Yeah, I have two cats, so I feel like I probably have those anyway. Can we talk about this mother freaking Panasonic recorder?
Oh, the Panasonic DR60.
Okay, I'm so irritated. I have done so much research over the last week since I watched that video and asked you what recorder you were using because I'm the type of person that if somebody recommends something to me, I fully believe them because it's already like vetted in my mind. So I'm like scouring the internet for this recorder specifically. I'm asking like my friends, my family members, I'm like, this has got to be in somebody's house, just like sitting or like at a Goodwill or you know what I mean?
Flea
Um,
market, garage
exactly.
sale.
This thing is going the cheapest one I found was $999, and the disclaimer in the description was like, "Does not work."
There, I
So
saw
that's how
one that said there was another one that doesn't work that was going for 2,000. How crazy is
yeah,
that?
like, that's how coveted this specific piece of equipment is, and why is that? It was made
It's
in the '90s.
the recorder when it came out. I mean, I think it was like $80, and they recalled it because people were saying it was defective because they were getting voices that they couldn't explain. So they stopped making them. So that's why there aren't so many out there. And right now, it's like the Mount Rushmore of recorders for paranormal ghost hunter. It's something with that recorder that it just picks up more things than what your normal recorder does. I mean, a lot of it is like things you can't make out, but
you're still
a lot
getting
of times
something.
you get stuff that you can understand as well. And what I think it is with that recorder is if you like have it in your hand, it's really light. Like you feel like the casing is really thin. And some people think it might have to do with like the casing on it. Some people think it's just maybe when they built it, they did it at like a higher frequency where it can hear like white noise. And then sometimes what they say is spirits can communicate through white noise. Well, there's another device called a spirit box that we use as well.
Spirit box. What is that?
So your spirit box is like a transistor radio that's modified. So, like your old school radios where it had the knob tuner and you're turning through the stations. And if you do it real fast, you'll hear like static in between.
Yeah.
Well, this does it automatically. You can do it backwards, forwards. You can set the speed. And what they say is in between the white noise, spirits can communicate. And it's been pretty effective for me. I mean, the most amazing thing I ever got was getting my name called out on it, clear, and it's clear as day. And that's when I asked them to do it. And then I got a response to my name. So it was Eric. So it was like, how do you doubt that? Like, how do you say that's not real?
I can fully back that up because I did watch that video and it definitely, it definitely said Eric.
I flat out said, can you say my name? And right after that, it said Eric. Like, how random is that?
I was just going to say, it's like probably kind of flattering for you that they know your name. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, everyone loves it when their name calls out, at least on my team. Like one of my teammates, Armando, got his name called out for the first time about a couple of months ago. And and I had it on video. If you look at the expression on his face, like the excitement, it was just so funny. You would have been cracking up.
I actually just bought, because like I said, I tried to find that Panasonic specific model and it's just somehow impossible at the moment. I'm trying to manifest it because that thing, I don't know, $2,000 for a recorder that is as old as I am is crazy. But
exactly,
I did catch a ghost whisper on my Zoom H4n.
Oh, that can pick up EVPs too. That's good.
And then I did order the Sony, the B7, I think that you recommended.
Oh yeah, that one's not bad either. I have that one.
So that just came in today. I'm gonna have to Google how to work it because I've never used a recorder, but I'm looking forward to seeing what this thing picks up.
I can do a little video demonstration for you.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome because I'm actually going out of town tomorrow. So we're going to actually be road tripping to Missouri from Texas and kind of stopping at, certain haunted locations along the way. So I want to test it out for sure.
Oh, nice.
See what I get. Yeah.
And then the week after that, I'll be doing the same. I'm heading up to Kentucky to Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Okay. What's Waverly Hills?
That's the most haunted place in the US.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was a hospital back in the 1920s. And back when they had the TB epidemic, tuberculosis, that was like a state-of-the-art facility to treat people. But, a lot of people died from it. And in that particular place, 63,000 people died, multiple, every day. And to the point where they created a body chute, sort of like a tunnel in the back of the hospital that goes into the ground, so people can't see them wheeling out the bodies. So they didn't want to get the morale down of the patient. That's going to be a freaky place. A lot of weird things happen there. Stuff in the body chute. There was a nurse that was pregnant from a doctor supposedly, and the doctor didn't want anything to do with her, so she hung herself and she haunts the place. And there's a boy named Timmy that died there that likes to play with the little toy balls. People gotten these balls to move. And also there's one area that has shadow figures all over the place. And I'll be going live for that one.
Okay, I was just about to ask. Perfect, because I definitely want to join for that one. And anybody that's listening should as well, because
24th, Monday night, I'll be going live at Waverly Hills.
Perfect.
Let's see it for yourself. No faking. Everything's real.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. All right. So can we get into some questions? Because I have some questions, and then I also had some listener questions that people
Awesome.
wrote in.
Okay, cool.
The Village Tarot Witch wants to know, what is your favorite ever ghost hunting moment?
My favorite ghost hunting moment. Ooh, there's been a few. Actually, that night in the attic is right up there in the top three. That's for sure. That's the
Oh,
most evidence I got. Like that attic must have been like, it was really hot. 'Cause we're in Florida, and I was just sweating like crazy, but I didn't want to get out. So that I would rank that up there. And then there's a place in Belglade, Florida. It's just west of West Palm Beach. That there's an abandoned correctional facility that we investigated, and I felt something go through me there. So that's probably number one. And it was there was a prison chapel there where they were performing satanic rituals, and you could feel the energy. Like if you would have walked in there, it would have slapped you in the face. And that was like the first time like I actually felt something. But I definitely had to get like sage and blessed with holy water after that. So that's probably number one. Yeah, the Belglade. So when I go to Waverly, since that's like the most haunted place in the US, I just want to see how that ranks with all the places I've been to, which have
right.
mostly been in South Florida. So I would say number one, the Belglade Correctional Facility. Oh, and number two would definitely be the Old City Charleston Jail in South Carolina.
I've heard of Charleston being so haunted, and I actually I watch a
It's a
lot of
real thing.
reality TV. One of the stars of Vanderpump Rules, her name is Stassi Schroeder. She went there on a ghost tour and was like, "This is crazy."
Yeah,
Like specifically the jail.
yeah, I've gotten stuff in that jail. It's pretty crazy. The old Charleston jail, that land goes back to the Revolutionary War. It used to be a cemetery where they buried soldiers there. And then they ended up building the prison there. And I think it was in like, I know I'm not right, but I think I'm close. I want to say like in the 1800s, early 1800s. And it looks like
Mhm.
this old Gothic castle. And the most famous person, well, there's been all kinds of people there locked up, and they were all crammed into one room. It was like really small. And there have been like pirates locked up there, slaves, soldiers from the war. But the most famous one was Lavinia Fisher. And she was the first woman serial killer to be executed. And her husband had a bed and breakfast outside of Charleston. And whenever travelers came by, what they did was there was a trap door underneath the bed, and they would poison them. And the trap door would open and they would fall into the basement, and they would like rob and kill them. So she was locked up there and hung there. And supposedly her last words were, if anyone, because like they have your last words before they execute you, like you have anything you want to say.
Yeah.
And her last words were, if you got a message for the double, give it to me now because I'm going to go see him.
Oh my God.
And I got her screaming in the cell that she was in.
You caught her screaming?
I don't know if it was her, but I heard a woman screaming. I got an EVP on it. I'm a recorder.
Oh wow. Okay. Do you have that one posted? Because I need to check that one out.
That's on my YouTube.
Okay, perfect.
It's Ghost Hunter South Florida. But that one, I asked Lavinia, are you here? Or I think I heard like some noise, and I asked if that was you. And then when I play back the recorder, you hear like someone like yelling, like a woman's voice in the background.
Have you been ghost hunting in Key West by any chance?
I have. I've been on those ghost hunting tours, and I like went to the cemetery on my own, but I've never actually gone into a place. But I'm working on it. There's what's the fort that's there? I want to go to the Dry Tortuga.
Fort Jefferson, I think.
Yeah, I want to go out there and spend the night there. That's supposed to be haunted. And you
That's
can
what I've
there.
heard.
But the only way you can get there is by boat or seaplane.
Exactly. And they also have no running water, so you have to like bring all your own stuff.
Exactly. And then also on Key West that's haunted that I'm working on trying to get into is Fort Zachary Taylor. And it's probably about as old. It's like, both those forts were built like around the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of soldiers died there from TB as well. And they say that place is haunted.
So I have a deep connection with Florida. My Mimi lives there. My great aunt lives there. My other great aunt, she's since passed, but she used to live there as well. So, I try to make it out at least once a year if I can. Usually when we go, we end up going to Key West. So,
Yeah, it's not
it's
far
just like
from
a 5-hour boat ride from Fort Myers to Key West. And yeah, I mean, I've been going since I was 16. I love it. I love the energy there, but there's a lot going on.
You could feel it at night too, right? When you're walking around.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
So have you heard of like the Robert the Doll?
Yep, I met him.
Oh, you did. Okay. How did
Yeah.
that go? Because I've always been curious about going to the museum, but I'm also like terrified because I don't want any kind of attachment to that.
Well, that is in a fort as well, Fort Martello. That fort's supposed to be haunted as well.
Okay.
Not by Robert the Doll, but it's haunted. But Robert the Doll is like encased there. To tell you the truth, I didn't take it too seriously. I mean, I went up, took a picture with them, and I think I came out okay.
Did you ask permission?
I didn't ask permission.
So that's what they say. They say if you go see Robert the Doll at this, museum or whatever, you're supposed to get his blessing before you talk to him or take a picture
Exactly.
or,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
creepy.
And they got letters, people writing apology letters that saying like what happened and they apologize, like pinned up there in that room.
Because he like curses people, right?
Yeah.
Ugh, no, I don't do dolls.
But that's not his original spot. It's called the Artist House, which is like further inland, like more in the downtown part of Key West.
He's creepy.
Yeah, he is. And you go by Key West Cemetery. That's a cool cemetery. All the graves are above ground because they can't dig under because they're like at or below sea level. So they start digging, it's going to be water.
Sure, similar to New Orleans, right?
Right. But if you go at night, be careful because there's a lot of bums there.
Yeah, I've never been to the cemetery there, I don't think.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely, even like during the day, like go by it, like drive by it, just to check it out.
Oh, you know what? I think we did actually like ride past it when we did like a trolley tour ride or whatever. I think we did go past the cemetery.
Yeah, they do. They have those ghost hunting tours. I mean, I heard that it shut down because of COVID. But pretty much everything here in South Florida is like open now, like almost back to normal. I mean, people are still doing social distancing and, they're wearing a mask but you can go to restaurants and even the bars and clubs are open now. So they might be up and running again, but they're pretty good. I mean, they'll give you like a K2, like an EMF meter or, a meter that senses temperature. And then they'll take you to like all the haunted places and tell you the stories and stuff. But it's not really investigative, but it's still cool. I mean, I do them and I enjoy them.
I think it would be a fun experience at least, especially for somebody that's like new to it.
Yeah, like there's a big one there where they do the trolleys. It's called something like Graves and Headstones or something like that. Check that one out. They go by they stop at Robert the Doll. That's a good one.
Oh, okay, cool.
And they take you to other places like around the Key.
The last time I was in Florida, I went to Key Largo and we were going to stop at the Last Chance Saloon. I felt a calling to go there. I had researched it and we just didn't end up making it. I had my son with me and I was like, I don't know if they're going to be weird about like kids in a bar. So we didn't end up stopping.
It's funny that you said that because you would have walked in and Linda's the bartender and she's one of our investigators. Her family owns it.
I'm so mad at myself for not stopping.
She would have talked your ear off about that.
Next time I'm going to go because it's only like a 3-hour drive. It's not that bad.
Yeah, we can ask her if we can like after hours investigate the place. We get a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, so you've actually been there, right?
Yeah, I've investigated it a few times.
Okay, so what happened when you were there?
Okay, so there's several things going on there. And Linda, she's on our team, but she's not a full-time team member just because she lives down in Homestead and sort of kind of far away from everything. They always send a pirate there. There was a pirate called Black Caesar that used to be in that area back in the day. And supposedly he hid treasure around there. So they think that he's haunting that place. And that could be like the vicinity where he hid his treasure. And it was funny because I was like joking around doing an EVP session about the treasure being buried around here. And I was getting like confirmation that someone wasn't happy about that.
Oh, like he was upset that you knew about it or?
Yeah, I was telling him, I know where the treasure is. I'm going to get it. I got no, and I forgot exactly what happened, but we were getting intelligent stuff that was like answering intelligently to our questions. But there's a lot of stuff going on there. I mean, it used to be a biker bar, and there's been a lot of fights and stabbings. Someone died in the bathroom. And there was a bartender there that passed away, and she dabbled in like the dark stuff, black magic, and they think that she haunts that place.
Okay, I'm seriously kicking myself for not going.
Yeah, there's a lot of haunted places in that area. There's a Hotel Redlands that we've investigated that's just down the street. There's an old theater like just down the street from there called the Seminole Theater that's supposed to be haunted. There's Coral Castle. Have you heard of Coral Castle?
I have not. What's that?
Okay, Coral Castle is this castle that was built out of coral that this guy, I can't remember his last name. His name is Ed. He was like from Lithuania, and his whole story was he was left at the altar by his bride and got upset, and he ended up moving here to the U.S. And then he had some type of health condition, I believe, so he had to stay in warm weather. So he moved down here, and this is like in the I don't know, around the same time, like the 1920s, because that's when the 1900s, 1920s, like South Florida, Miami, was really starting to develop into something. Because before then, it was like frontier land. But this little guy cut out these big, huge pieces of coral and built this castle out of coral by using like a pulley system. No one helped him.
Oh,
and
wow.
These things are huge. And then he has things there that defy like science. Like he has this big, huge, solid coral. It's like a rock door that is maybe like 2 feet thick, and I don't know, maybe like 8 feet tall, and like 4 feet wide, and it's solid coral, and it's on a pin, and you can just pretty much, it spins around like those spinning doors when you go into a tall building.
Yeah.
So you can pretty much push it, make it spin around with your finger. Like, how did he was able to do that on his own? This little guy, I think he was like 5'6" or 5'5". He built this whole thing for the bride that left him, hoping that she would come back. So it's sort of like a love story. It's really weird. Like, they found videos that he was using, like he used like how the Egyptians did back in the day when they built the pyramids, this pulley system, and I guess he cut the coral. And it was funny because Disney found these old videos of him as he filmed himself, and before that, no one knew. This is like recent. So everyone thought that maybe he was alien or the aliens helped him. Have you ever heard of that show called In Search Of? This came out like in the 70s or 80s, where they talked about like mysterious things. Well, that was like one of them that was on, like that place was on that show. But if you Google Coral Castle, it's pretty interesting.
I'm definitely going to do that for sure. We did go to the Caribbean Club. I don't know if you've heard of that place.
In Key Largo?
Yeah, so there's a movie, a black and white film with Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart called Key Largo, and that's where they filmed the actual movie. But now it's a bar, super divey, like just your average bar, but they've got like memorabilia and like history and stuff all over the building. But I felt a lot of energy there as well.
Did anyone talk about it?
No, and I was with my family. I was like really not trying to freak them out, so I didn't pry too much.
Yeah, when I'm with my family, I'm not allowed to talk about the paranormal in front of people.
No, I mean, it's not that they don't allow me to. It's just, there's a level of skepticism for sure.
No, I talk about it all the time. I'm annoying about it. So.
Oh, so am I.
That's me.
Absolutely. Yeah. At least we own it, right?
Exactly.
When you go on these ghost hunts, how do you go about the whole process? Like, do you have to reach out to people? Do you have to get permission? Do you let them know like what you're doing? Is there a disclaimer? Because I've tried to find some local teams around my area. I'm in DFW in Texas, and I've gotten a lot of rejection. Actually, they're like, "Oh, we're a tight knit group. Like, we don't really allow new people in."
Yeah, paranormal teams are like sort of like gang members. They have like their own little territories, but
it's very cliquey.
Right. But I'm different. I'm more about para unity. I'm always inviting teams to come investigate with us. And I even had people like from Germany, from Holland that that are paranormal investigators over there. They're visiting here. I always invite them, but everything that we do, we always get permission. We never break any laws. Like we have a couple of cemeteries that we go to, and we always call the police department and let them know that we're going to be there.
Are they usually pretty cool about that? Like, how do you explain that to the cops?
We just tell them exactly what we're doing. We're just doing paranormal research, and we're going to be here from this time to this time. I mean, I don't make the call. Someone else does it. Sometimes they're like, oh yeah, whatever. Like they want to like focus on things that are more important. I guess like someone that's really calling 911. Well, we don't call 911. But
Sure.
at least it's on record, And then, I mean, there's been times where, the police officer would stroll by and he'd be like all into it, stuff like that. So for those type of places and the abandoned places, like the Belgrade Correctional Facility, we did the same thing. But unfortunately, we can't in there because now they'll arrest you because now the city owns the place. They end up buying it. All the historical places that we go to, what I do is I offer my services to do ghost hunting events so they can generate income for the museum or for the historical place, because they always are looking for money. Mm-hmm. And we always sell out these things. And the only thing I ask for return, and I don't ask for money back, is if we can, have nights where we can come in and investigate by ourselves. And that's how I get paid for it.
Like I said, I just haven't had much success so far in finding like a team that I could actually go out with, because I don't want to just try to go by myself,
Do they do any ghost hunting events in your area?
I mean, I'm sure that they do. I know like I live just north of Fort Worth. So we're right, above the stockyards. There's a ton of ghost tours down in the stockyards. Like they even have a winery ghost tour, which I'm definitely interested in, because like ghosts and wine, like how much better could it get?
Exactly, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something I'm definitely interested in, but
Are there any paranormal teams that do their own events there, or is it just like, like a history tour or anything like that?
So yes and no. There is one team that I reached out to. I'm not going to disclose their name because I wasn't like too thrilled with the response that I got. But basically, that was like the one that was like, oh, we have a very closed, circle. We don't usually allow new people in. But she said occasionally they do events where they invite newcomers. But I mean, I just feel like if it's going to be that closed off, maybe that's not what's meant for me. And I just need to keep searching,
Yeah. Well, I can understand where they're coming from, because like we're like really a close-knit family, and you don't want to have like any drama.
Mm-hmm.
You want everyone to get along with each other. But I always welcome, new people. But I understand that too. We're always careful on who we select. We always like, let them hang out for a little while so we can feel them out. And
Mm-hmm.
if we like them, then we add them to the team. Because when you're going to these places, you gotta like pretty much get along with people, because anything can happen.
Sure. And I mean, there's a level of respect to it as well. Like, regardless of whether or not you're with a team, you have to respect spirit. You do not want to piss spirit off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's like maybe what they're kind of concerned about. I don't know. I said, I'm on this side of it. I'd love to be on that side of it. I just don't know how to get there.
I can maybe I'll look around, see if I know anybody.
I know that there is because she did recommend a Denton County, which is just about an hour north of me, which I actually used to live in Denton, and there's this place there called Goatman's Bridge.
Uh-huh.
He said that there is a Denton County paranormal team that is accepting new members. And I looked them up, and they've done Goatman's Bridge, and I have been going there since I was a teenager, just with like friends and stuff from high school, and trying to see what we could find. Nothing really that significant ever happened while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But I've definitely seen other people's videos where they've caught stuff.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean,
there you go. You should check out that team.
Yeah. It's
if you like get a bad vibe when you like will go up to a team and they're telling you like they're a close-knit family, but I don't know how they said it to you, but if you got a bad vibe right away, then I would probably stay away from them.
And see, I kind of did, because I like I kind of did some stalking, I'll be honest. Looked this lady up on like LinkedIn, Instagram. I don't have Facebook, so obviously I feel like I would probably be more successful if I had a Facebook, but I'm just not willing to go there. But
Mhm.
I was like looking at her stuff on LinkedIn and Instagram and like searching out her team members and things like that. I fully sound crazy. I promise I wasn't actually trying to stalk. I'm just so interested. And they've actually gone to a lot of really energetic places around where I live. So I'm
Uh-huh.
like, that's kind of frustrating because I just like want somebody to give me a chance.
We'll come to South Florida.
I will be there as soon as I
I'll
can.
have an opening for you.
Even just like one time, the experience would be awesome.
Yeah, whenever you're in town, let me know. You always got an invitation.
So for like places that are abandoned or like you said, owned by the city, do you do research on, who the city council members are or anything like that? Do you go as far as like reaching out to them?
Nah, not really.
No? Okay. Just
No, like,
curious.
yeah, no, we just go there and we just call the police department. And if they have a problem with it, we don't go. And if they're
Hmm.
cool with it, then we're cool with it. And when we were going to that abandoned correctional facility, there was a police officer that patrolled the place, and he would like stop by and hang out and talk to us like it was no big deal. But it's different. They didn't care now because it was privately owned. But now, because I guess they were going to do like a baseball spring training facility there, and I guess it didn't fall through, so now the city bought it. But
Oh,
now we're actually working with the city. Like we have someone that's connected, I guess, with what you were talking about to see if we can get permission to get in there. But that's
okay.
that's the hard way. That's why like a lot I like going to like the historical places because I show them, how they can generate money and interest. And sometimes it's funny because they're like, oh, we don't want to be known as haunted. But once we start doing it, they're like, bring the TV people. We don't care. It's funny.
Well, and there's such like an underground fascination with this kind of stuff. I feel like there's just not enough representation for people that are into the paranormal. Like we need
Yeah,
to normalize this stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely. And plus, we're like, I mean, I'm not like, I'm a business person and I'm not like someone that's uneducated. And when I go in there, I go with like I'm doing the sales and like I'm showing them what the benefits are. So if you got a good personality and you tell them how you can help them and how you'll be like respectful and they can show off like the history of the place, usually you shouldn't have a problem with that.
There is this one place that I wanted to talk to you about. I don't know if you've ever heard of this town. Most people that, don't live in Texas have no idea what this is, but it's called Mineral Wells. And they actually have a hotel there called the Baker Hotel. I don't recall the exact year that it was built, but, early 1900s ish. There have been so many deaths there, and the property is still there. Pre-COVID, they were working on revamping everything and trying to bring it back to life, but for the time being, it is still abandoned. There have been a ton of ghost hunts there, paranormal investigations, things like that. But
Is there
now
an indoor pool? There used to be an indoor pool in that
I,
place, like a
I honestly,
spring.
I think that sounds very familiar. Yeah.
So I think I saw a TV show on that.
I mean,
I
it's
think it was,
like in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, it sort of looked like maybe like a cabin type feel, but it was huge. And I think it was like an indoor pool with the mineral water. And like back in the day, like people said like it cured all these things.
Yeah, because the
Made
water
it to
there
the
has
shore.
lithium and magnesium in it, which are known to help like anxiety and help, boost your happiness.
That
Go
was on the
ahead.
show Ghost Bait.
There's actually a company out there called Crazy Water that bottles this mineral water, and there's different levels of the minerality. So like I think it goes like 2, 3, 4, and then they have something called Crazy Fizz, which is like their version of the sparkling water, but all of
Uh-huh.
their bottles have lithium and magnesium, like small
Yeah, that's
traces.
the place. That's definitely the
Yeah.
place.
The Baker Hotel, I've been there, just walked outside around it, but have never actually gotten the chance to go in. I had a ton of friends in high school that went in, and I was always too scared to go. But
Oh,
now I'm
really?
like, yeah, I would love that opportunity.
Well, I'm doing a haunted hotel tomorrow night, actually, the Hollywood Beach Resort. It was built back in the 1920s, and there's been a lot of reports of weird things happening there. Al Capone actually frequented that place,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, they've seen full body apparitions, cold spots. So we're going to be doing a documentary and investigating the place tomorrow night.
Oh,
I'm going
that's
to
so
try to go
cool.
live, so stay tuned.
Okay, yeah. If I can't join the live, definitely post the after videos.
Yep, it'll be on my page.
Do you ever feel like you bring any of the spirits home with you? Or do you have like a ritual or something that you say to kind of like end the session?
Yep, I definitely have a ritual.
Okay. What does that look
Well,
like? If you don't mind explaining that.
well, I have a Christian belief, so I always ask for God to have his angels protect me. And I always do a prayer before and a prayer after before I get home. And I ask for his guardian angels to, shine their light on me and protect me. And when I leave a location, and if it's been somewhere where I sense something that was evil, I always command them that they're not allowed to follow me. They have to stay here. And if you saw the end of that live in the attic, I did say that.
Yeah, I saw where you were saying that they weren't allowed to follow anybody home. They couldn't attach
Exactly.
themselves. Yeah.
Now it's happened to a friend of mine, but I think it's like I said with fear, it's in your frame of mind. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And also everybody's different. Like you said, you're sensitive, so I think they're more prone to people who are sensitive just because they know they can reach out to them and they can see
Yeah.
them. For people that don't have sensitivity or do have it, maybe they just haven't tuned into it or blocked it out. I think it's a lot more difficult to affect those type of.
Can I ask you a random question? Because the audio just got weird. Did you change anything?
No, I didn't. Oh, I went outside with that.
This isn't bad on your part. This is just something that happens a lot with me when I'm trying to record and talk about spirit. Spirit likes to fuck with my audio. I did a reading for a guy that had just lost his son, and the call kept dropping. And so I had asked him towards the end of the reading, I was like, does this normally happen? Like, do you live in an area with like bad service or, what's going on? And he was like, no, this literally never happened.
That's interesting because I want my Wi-Fi service so it should be crystal clear.
We can debunk this.
Is there something going on in your house?
Oh, yeah. There's, nothing like that would affect this. I definitely have confirmed 8 spirits in my house.
Maybe they're affecting it.
They could be. Yeah. They love to mess with me. So.
I'm going inside now.
All right. Well, Spirit, cut it out. Spirit, are you there?
Can you tell me your name?
I swear to God, if I listen back to this and something comes up, I'm going to pee my pants.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Wouldn't it?
I hope that happens.
All right. Well, perfect. What else is going on for you coming up? Like, do you have any events that you're doing soon? I know you said you were going to the Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Yep, I'm going to be there on the 24th. Tomorrow, I'm filming a documentary at the Haunted Hollywood Beach Resort. And then we have our company Ghostly Experiences, where we have, it's like a paranormal boot camp where you learn how to use the equipment and all aspects of being a paranormal investigator. Mm-hmm. And it's done at a known historical haunted location. Then after that, we're going to investigate the place, and we're doing one at History Fort Lauderdale, and the other one will be at the old Davies Schoolhouse.
Do you have any advice for somebody that is trying to catch an EVP, or do you have specific questions that you usually get answers to? Like, can you give advice on that kind of thing?
Yeah, I would just like talk to them like it's a normal person, because that's what they used to be. Right. And I try to, it's more like, for me, it's more like intuition, but I like try to learn about the place. I try to find out like what things they might have liked or who was there, or, ask for them. I always introduce myself when I start. I'm always very respectful.
Yeah, I definitely think respect is going to be like the biggest takeaway. That if anybody is listening to this and wants to try out ghost hunting, always respect spirit. Because if you think about it, you're in their space, regardless of if they're in the physical or not, anymore. That's still a place that they called their own at one point.
And don't do it by yourself.
Don't do it by yourself. Why is that?
Always, you never know what happens, and then do it the the legal way. Don't like do any breaking or entering.
Right.
I
Of
mean,
course.
some of these
Get
abandoned
permission.
places that we've been to, I mean, if you're not careful, you can get hurt because they're all run down buildings, like you can fall through a floor or something like that, you know?
Absolutely. Honestly, I think that's all the questions that I have. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with?
If they want to find out where they can find me,
Yes. Plug your stuff.
I'm on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. It's Ghost Hunter of South Florida. And then my team is called War Party Paranormal. And we don't have YouTube yet, but we're working on our website. It's under construction. We're redoing the whole thing, but we are on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you're locally, just look us up. We're always posting our events, and be more than happy to have you come and join us and see what it's all about.
Awesome. I cannot wait to come back to Florida. I'm definitely going to join you guys. And if you're ever in Texas, let me know because I know of a ton of haunted places, but I feel like you would probably be a shoo-in, to get us there.
Oh, awesome. Oh, and one important thing is
Yes.
anyone that's listening that's in the South Florida area, if they have a problem or know someone that has a problem with the paranormal in their home or their business, to please reach out to War Party Paranormal. We'll help them. We don't charge. We're non-for-profit, and we'll help get rid of what's ever there.
I know we're wrapping up, but tell me about like a home visit that you've done.
Okay, so that's like more structured. It's a whole process that we do. It all starts off with the telephone interview where we're just asking questions about, what's going on and what's been happening. There been any mental issues, any drinking problems or drug problems, stuff like that. And then once we feel like it could be legit and we think it's okay to move on to the next step. And the next step would be is we would go there and meet them and do like a preliminary where we just, get to know what's going on, do a walk around, see maybe if we get anything. And if we don't get anything, then we'll go back and do a full out investigation. And if needed, we have people that can come in there and, bless and cleanse the place. And we have a variety of people in our group. I mean, I have a minister that's on my group, an ordained minister. We have a couple people that practice Wiccan. We have sensitives. We have a Reiki master. And it's funny because one of our investigators that's an ordained minister, I don't know if you've seen Shock Docs when they did the Amityville story that was on Discovery Plus on
It sounds
Charleston.
familiar.
If you saw Tim Yancey like doing a narrative, like he
Mhm.
used to do lectures with Ed and Lorraine Warren. So he was on that show. So if you see that show and you see Tim Yancey, he's on our team.
And Ed and Lorraine Warren are the people that like Insidious is kind of based off of.
Right. They're like the pioneers of the paranormal. They're like the first real investigators among a few other people. Ed was an ordained minister. Lorraine was a sensitive. Ed used a lot of like equipment. He did EVP sessions and things like that. And if there was anything demonic or evil, he would cleanse the place with holy water and drive it out.
Yeah, I feel like people know those movies, but they don't really know the history of it all.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
actually on Discovery Plus, they have a story about them. It's really interesting to watch. Check it out.
Okay, well, Discovery Plus, if you're listening, please sponsor me so we can get some
Exactly,
free
right?
memberships.
Yeah, Pat needs to be on that show.
I'm so thankful that you were able to do this, and I can't wait to see your next Instagram live on the haunted places that you go. And I'm very much so looking forward to the Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for inviting me. I had
Yeah,
fun. I love
absolutely.
doing these things. I can talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
paranormal all day, all night.
Well, you are more than welcome back anytime. And one more time, just for the listeners, go ahead and plug your stuff again, just so everyone knows where to find you.
Yep, my name is Eric. I'm the team leader for War Party Paranormal, and you can find me as Ghost Hunter of South Florida on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then my team, War Party Paranormal, we're on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're local, If you want to find out about our events, I post them. And if you need help, you can always reach out to me or my team. And we're here to help.
Thank you so much, Eric. I'm going to let you go enjoy your night. But again, thank you for being on. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you more.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Kat. And I hope you have a really good trip.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll let you know if anything comes up for sure.
Awesome. We'll talk later.
Thank you for listening to the Bewitching Hour podcast. Again, I'm your host, Kat, and you can follow me on Instagram at Kat Alexander with 2 R's. You can follow the Bewitching Hours Instagram at Bewitching Podcast. And please, don't forget to rate me 5 stars and leave a nice review. In perfect love and perfect trust, until next time.
She was just a wish. She was just a wish.